Fine. Let's learn now. Okay,
I just
next.
want them to understand.
Okay, very good. Okay,
You're testing.
let's learn, everybody. You're holding, and we're learning the Tanya today. Welcome to those that are on Facebook, those that are on Zoom, and let's learn some Chassidus. And Chassidut heals everybody. Okay, so we are holding at closer to the end of the first chapter. Actually, on page in the English over here, it's on page in the Hebrew. It's page number 10. The Kabbalah was cut off. I'm sorry. This is also opposite. So when you're going to go the wrong, you're going to go the other way when you get to the other side. We're holding actually on the last couple of words in Tanya. So the Alter Rebbe introduced us over here the Kabbalistic concept of that the world in general has 4 levels. The world in general has 4 levels, which is the concept of inanimate things, animate things, vegetation, animals, and humans. That's the 4 levels within the concept of the world. And then in the human being itself, there are 4 levels. There is Eish, Ruach, Mayim, and Ofer. There are 4 elements that every person, Kabbalah says, every person is made up. I think science also says that. Every person is made up of these 4 entities. Eish, Ruach, Mayim, and Ofer, which is fire, water, earth, and air. So those are the 4 elements. Chassidus says, the Kabbalah is not a book of science, but it's a book that everything in Gashmis, everything that's in the physical sense, is also in the spiritual sense. So that means that each of these elements have a spiritual concept to it. What is Eish? What is the concept of fire? The concept of fire is that it's, as we learn in Chassidus also, Irish Peyesh, that you need to be, your soul needs to be a burning fire. So everything in life, when Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, what was the tree of knowledge called? It was called the tree of knowledge of good and bad. Eitz HaChaim, the tree of knowledge, Tov V'Ra, good and bad. That means that everything in this world has a little bit of good and bad. The only thing that has only good is a mitzvah. That's a ratzon of the Eibush, that's the will of God, that has only within it good. But everything else in the world has, even if it's going to be called the potential of bad, everything in the world has the concept of Tevara. That's what Adam and Chava wanted when they ate from the tree of knowledge of Tevara. That it became part of everything in the world. It became part of the fiber of the world. The good thing about this Ra, this bad, so to say, is that even the Ra has the potential of good. Even the Ra, even the negative, has the potential of good. So that's the beauty of this Ra, so to say. Even this Ra, which we call in Chassidut Klipat Noga. It means a klippa. This Ra, this negative, is called a klippa, a covering that shines. Noga means to shine. So what does that mean? That it has the potential to shine. Every sin I can do tshuva in, right? I can do tshuva, I can repent. I can have the capability to repent, to turn it into good, right? That a negative can become positive. That's an amazing thing, that everything that can be, things that can be turned into positive. But there are certain things that are totally negative. Again, negative means zu gesund, as you called. I say, so we're not going to know. So you think I'm freezing you out of here. That's not the point. So are you warm? So everything has within it, even the Ra, even the negative, has the capability of positive, but then you have certain things that have called in Kabbalah, Sholish Klipat Atmeis, 3 levels of impurity that cannot become good. Like sing the treif, God forbid, animals that are not kosher. Nobody has anything against the pig, but ultimately it cannot become kosher. Cannot become kosher. There's no way you can make a pig kosher. There's no way you can make a dog kosher. There's no way you can make a cat kosher. These come from concepts that are not capable of becoming aspect of eating it, of elevating it in a holy way. Yeah.
I knew that was coming. Didn't they say
The
Chazer, right? They say the Chazer. That's the only one. They say Asalah, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So listen, because Jews are pining to have some bacon and eggs. So Asalah, yeah, that says so. Whatever. But a lobster will never become kosher. Okay, so finished. That's going to be good. So that becomes. So again, nothing. No, we're not saying. We're saying when we say something comes from klippas hatmeyos, comes from the impure coverings, means that it's impossible to tell if it doesn't make it bad or good. Shouldn't think that way, because the Alter Rebbe is going to say some sharp words over here. The difference between the Jewish nation and the rest of the world is not the Alter Rebbe is not talking about bad or good. It's just talking about the certain thing that the avodah of a Jew that needs to elevate the world to a spiritual heights, and then the avodah of the world to keep the world in existence. So therefore, they're able to make sure that there would be things in the world that have also in the animal world, there will be things in the world that can be elevated, kosher and non-kosher, even in the vegetation. Even vegetation, there can be certain vegetations that are prohibited by a Jew, like the first 3 years, the first 4 years of vegetation is called arla, which cannot be done anything with it. You cannot use it. You cannot have any kind of pleasure from it. So you have in all levels, and you have certain things that if you took a rock and turned it into an idol, it now has to be destroyed, cannot be rectified. So you have in the world also these two entities, some things that could be elevated, something that cannot be. And that is a spiritual concept, it has nothing to do with any one of us. I mean, it affects us, but it's not something that we decided. Nobody over here in this room decided that a pig is not kosher. That's a in the Torah. Finished. Why does an animal have split hooves kosher and an animal doesn't have split hooves not kosher? That's it. The Torah says so. I cannot tell you why. Yeah, I can tell you all these spiritual reasons, but ultimately the reason is because that's what God says. I'm finished. That's you have to realize that. That's not something that any of us has the authority to proclaim it as good or bad. Right? That's what it says. The Gemara says that when you pass something that is not kosher, what do you say? What do you say? So only a tzaddik can say it is delicious, but God told me not to eat it. A regular person should say it's disgusting. Finished. End of story. He shouldn't say it's delicious, because if he says it's delicious, he might come to eat it. Right? If you're going to say it's delicious, Musabi is delicious. Millions of people are eating it. So Musabi is delicious. People are not eating disgusting food.
Why can't you say nothing?
No, you have to have some. You have to have some response. Well, it doesn't mean you can say nothing. It's in your mind. But why are you not eating it? The question is why you're not eating it. The nations of the world ask you why you're not eating it.
It's disgusting.
Right? Yeah, it's disgusting. Disgusting. Shakit tishak center. It's a verse in the Torah.
Won't you irritate them if you...
I didn't say you should make an announcement. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, on aisle number 15, it's a disgusting product. It's in your mind. You say it's disgusting. I don't want to have anything to do with it. Finish. It's in your mind. In your mind. I would say make a proclamation. I wouldn't do that. That wouldn't be a good idea. In your mind, the point is a person should never say, it's like in anything. The Torah says you should never mention to a person the sins that he done in the past. Even though he's not doing it anymore. Why? Because if you tell a person, you did eat lobster in the past, maybe. So the person doesn't think, you're right, I did eat lobster. It was pretty good. Now I'm missing it. It's like an alcoholic. You don't want to remind an alcoholic that he's gone through 20 years of whatever AA to remind him that he loved to drink, or to bring him out to the place where we're drinking. Why? Even though he's not been drinking for 20 years, they'll tell you. You're going to always, once you had alcohol and you tasted the geschmack in it, whatever, might go back to it.
Why would you say it's disgusting? Why wouldn't you just say the Torah forbids me to eat it?
No, because the Torah is not going to hold you back on your nefesh habahamis. Your Torah will not hold you back. That's the reality. How many people that they know what the Torah says and they continue doing it? How many people know that alcoholism is not good for them, but they continue doing it? Because your nefesh Bahamas is extremely strong. That's it. You have to realize your animalistic soul, my animalistic soul, is extremely a powerful entity. It's called a goring ox. It's a very powerful entity. Your godly soul is mostly a meek entity, unless you create it into a powerful entity. So therefore, you cannot just say God said so. We all know what God said, and we still don't overcome that concept. God is not powerful enough to animalistic soul. Therefore, if we're on the right path, we have to sometimes even fake it. Say, I don't like it. End of story. I don't like it. I am not interested. Finished. I'm done with it. It's gone. It's my past. I don't want to. We have a couple questions here before we go to the yeah.
Isn't it true? I learned a few weeks ago within the portion that if you in public, it's the same as if you killed him. It's the same as if you took his soul. It's a terrible sin.
Terrible sin.
So I don't know, but I'm guessing that's why you wouldn't say publicly, oh, you shouldn't eat that, because the person might be embarrassed.
Okay, good. He's talking in publics. We're not worried about the mitzvah, not embarrassed, not a Jew, but
You shouldn't embarrass him.
yeah, but the Aveda is another Jew.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Yeah.
In my mind, it seems to me the higher thing is to just not be affected by this animal, to just ignore it, just to take
Right,
it
but ultimately, if you did, for example, I never ate non-kosher. Not because I grew up in a, so I never ate. I can't tell you what a non-kosher thing tastes like. I don't know. That's the reality. Not because of my great righteousness, because that's how it's brought up. So I cannot tell you. But a person that did eat non-kosher, it's hard for them to take. It's like Lashon Hara. I can tell you the negative of Lashon Hara till I'm blue of my face, but I will talk Lashon Hara. Why? Because I have spoken Lashon Hara. And therefore, I know the Geschmack in Lashon Hara, whether it's hearing the Lashon Hara or the speaking the Lashon Hara. I know the Geschmack, so I can tell you, we'll sit here and learn the book of the Chafetz Chaim and everything. We're going to speak Lashon Hara. The Gemara says so. We're going to speak Lashon Hara. Because we have a Geschmack in Lashon Hara.
I still think it's
Binyamin HaTzadik, Binyamin was sons of Jacob, but never did an Aveda. He was one of the few Jews, the Gemara says, that never, ever did a sin.
Wow.
Never did a sin. And that's why the Beis Hamikdash is in his chelik, because he never, ever did an Aveda in his life.
I still think it's
That's
harder
amazing
to
thing.
totally ignore it than to say, it's like saying, think of anything except a purple cow.
Nope, the Gemara doesn't agree with you. I'm sorry. The Gemara says you should say it is disgusting. That's what the Gemara says. You can go and argue with the Gemara because the Gemara says, I don't know. Again, I cannot tell you it because I can't say the thing is disgusting.
With itself. It doesn't need me to argue with it.
It doesn't argue this statement, yeah.
Are you supposed to, let's say your family member,
Right.
has gone off the path,
Right,
and you know that they're eating chazer.
right.
How are you supposed to?
No, don't
handle
don't say it's
Okay.
disgusting. No, it's not gonna work.
It's
not gonna work. No.
Tell them it's
Show them how beautiful the kosher is. Bring them to your home and show them how delicious kosher is. And listen, it's a difficult concept. It's not an easy concept. It's not an easy way. The way to do it is not through rebuke. You cannot rebuke somebody in like rebuking an alcoholic. You're not going to get anywhere rebuking an alcoholic. The truth is, you're not going to get anywhere rebuking yourself. Rebuking yourself is not going to either get you anywhere. You have to have, as Chassidus says, rachmanis on yourself. You have to have rachmanis on your nefesh elokis. You have to have mercy on your godly soul. And that's the way you're going to be able to awaken up your godly soul. In a way. So in a way, that's why you have to have rachmanis, that you could have had that desire in the past. Whatever. but it's to you right now, you'll see in Chassidus, in Tanya, the Alter Rebbe say, Moyes Bara. The problem with us, that we are not Mo'ez Bara, means we do not think Ra is disgusting.
Right.
Okay, so now you're going to try to explain me politically, I shouldn't say Ra is disgusting. We have to feel that Ra is disgusting. Whether you're going to say it, whether you're going to think it. If you don't think Ra is disgusting, then unless you have that Ra is not disgusting, but God said so. How many people can have that Ra is not disgusting, but God, I'm such a holy man that God said so. If I'm such a person, then maybe I could be in that level. But I have to realize first, Ra is disgusting. Evil is disgusting, right? Something that is ekeldik to me. What ekeldik means?
What?
Ekeldik, that's a Yiddish word. Ekeldik. It's nauseous. I am nauseous. I get nauseous. Who gets nauseous? Ekeldik, it's a Yiddish word. Nauseating. I get nauseating.
What's the word again?
Ekeldik.
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 I like that.
Okay, you like it? Okay, very good. Nauseating. Nauseating. Mosbera. I'm nauseated by I'm sick, right? I get sick. I have what do they call when you get nausea. When people get nausea,
Yeah.
right? I always give the example. You're sitting down at a fancy restaurant, and a cockroach. Imagine the cockroach walks in front of the plate. You lost your taste, right? You lost your taste. Why? What is a cockroach? You lost your taste, right? You look, oh, forget it. I can't eat the food, right? The cockroach made you nauseated, right? Right? Ekeldik. It made you ekeldik, right? It made you ekeldik. Now, can you imagine if you were nauseated by somebody who does something negative?
I have a question.
Yochana, I didn't forget you. Yes. You wanted to ask something or say something. Yeah.
Okay. I was a caterer, so I was told by a mashkia that if I have a plate of food and I know one of those and 10 of them are beef, I'm allowed to serve this to anybody, everybody.
That's what he's talking about. That's not what he's talking about.
Good. So you're not allowed.
No.
Good.
That's not.
Good.
Okay, Yochana, say, yeah.
I just wanted to say it's not just food. We have a taiva for Netflix movies, and I have to literally say, this series is absolutely disgusting. You're right. It's so hard to not watch some of these series that are so enticing.
So everything's
very
like,
difficult for me. I can't speak for anybody else, but I cannot.
oh, you have to, me too. You have to
Language is
say
bad.
exactly. It's disgusting. Because if not, you're going to do it. You're going to rationalize,
100%.
do it.
100%.
You have to.
Speech and action. Speech is there.
Action.
A thought.
It has to be a real feeling. It has to be a real feeling. It has to be a real feeling. But that is what we have to, but we don't. Why? Why don't we do that? Because we have midas rice. We have these attributes. Now somebody's hot. Now we have these midas rice. We have these characteristics of evil that don't let us, that shows we have a mixture of good and bad. Why don't we feel this thing? Because we have a taste to it. We have a taste to it. We have certain taste to it. We have a side taste to it. That's it. And that's why we don't really feel that this is something that I would never do. So, right. Okay, so we have fire. So the Chassidus says every one of us has 4 character midas, and they're called midas, klippas noiga, covering that shines. We have the fire, the element of fire, which is heat, which we should have. We should have a fire to God. We should be passionate. Fire is passion. We should have passion to good. We should have passion, but automatically there's a little bit of passion to negative. We have anger. We Anger is part of passion.
Desire.
Desire. No, that's the next one. We have water, which is desire.
Oh.
And desire is good. We should have desire to eat good food, to eat kosher. But we have desires that are not so good. And we have all air, which is the concept, which is ruach. We have spirit, right? Everybody has spirit. Really nothing, right? We can have a great spirit and then 10 minutes later we're depressed. That just shows you how much spirit that we had, right? We had an unbelievable spirit, and then we leave the building, and then we change our spirit changes, right? We're spirited to one person. We're not nice to another person. We are Jekyll and Hyde. We're not the patriarchs were called Yesharim. They were very single, flat-lined people.
Single-minded.
Very
Even keel.
They were hot for everything, right? They were basic people that did everything right. We are people that were Jekyll and Hyde. We're nice to certain people, we're not nice to other people. Some people are nice to outside people, not nice to their family. Some people are nice to their family, not nice to other people. They like this kind of person, they that kind of person. They have you. This is my group. You're not part of my group. I have groups. I have teams. This is like a color war, right? We turn this whole world into a color war, right? I'm on this team. You're on that team. You're this group. You're that group. We became, and that's a sad world. But that's a real world. That's a real world. I'm not here putting down another group. But you're not of my group. Not part of my group. You're not a part of my group. And I'm not here to put you down, but that's not good either. That's not good either. So, and then we have offer, earth. And that's the lowest level of a human being. His depression. He's depressed. He is everything is negative. He's lazy. He's again, a lot of these things are to himself. He's not hurting anybody. He sits in his room all day. He's depressed. He's not making anybody. It's still a negative character trait of a human being. And this is really, the truth is, these 4 levels of a human being, that's who he is. He has to know these are, in Chassidus, his 4 middos, which we call in the Yaveh, that's a middos rois. Evil character. But again, nobody got hurt from it. It's still an evil character. You hurt yourself, and that's an evil character. And that's Zekal Adam. If you want to know the whole purpose, the Rambam writes, the whole purpose why God gave the Torah is to change your evil character. Your basic characteristic traits. And no person could say, I cannot change these midas. I can't change. This is the way I am. This is the way I was brought up. This is the way I am. This is my mother gave it to me, my grandmother, blame it on everybody else. This is who you are, correct. But this is why the Eibishter gave you a Torah, a godly concept that it would ultimately transform and change one's character. That's why it's very important. Before we come to the godly soul, which is chapter 2, is to understand your animalistic soul. It's only one chapter. The Alter Rebbe goes later into it, but basically understand who you are, the makeup of who you are, and hopefully by understanding the makeup of who you are, you'll be able to transform it. If you're not look in the mirror and know who you really are, then how are we going to transform this concept if we don't know who we really are? Okay. Positive thing the Alter Rebbe says over here is that we should know that we have potential. That even though you look in the mirror and you look at yourself and you know your midas rois, you know your character that's not good, you still, it's called in Tanya in Kabbalah klippat noga, a clipper that shines. So it has the capability of change. And that's important that everybody realizes they have the capability, the capacity to change. It's in their hands. The Hayom Yom today is the same thing that Rebbe says in Hayom Yom of the day. Read it to you.
How come we didn't talk about Earth? We talked about.
I did depression.
Oh.
Rebbe writes in Hayom Yom, there's a letter from the Frierdiker Rebbe. Every person must know that God, through his individual providence, gives each person the ability to bring God's supernal will from potential state to actual. This is done through fulfilling mitzvahs with strengthening Yiddishkeit and our holy Torah at all times and every place. It all depends solely on one's service. It's nobody, it doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs, every person has that capability. It's nobody else's. Yesterday is Hayom, and that's really even more. There's no one for whom to pride oneself. What we must toil strenuously with patience and friendliness, we can prevail in all things with God's help. Denigrating attitude towards others and inflating one's own importance, we lose everything, God forbid. What a Hayom Yom of yesterday. The Rebbe would say, Anan Pol Dimamana, we are the workers of the day. We have to work on the positive, to realize that to overcome the negative, the Ra, is by to accentuate the positive in others and the positive in oneself. We need to, because everything has good and bad. There's no concept in the world that is totally perfect besides a tzaddik gomer. And if you and that you got to find, to find the tzaddik gomer. But majority, 99% of the rest of the world is what we call a Rosh or a Beinoni, and therefore they have good and bad. And if you want to accentuate the bad, gesundheit. If you want to accentuate the good, that's the way you're going to make this world a better world. Not by accentuating the percentage of bad, but by accentuating the type, the goodness, the potential, even the potential. That's where Chassidus and Musar separated, right? There's two ways of becoming a better person: by telling the greatness of God, or by telling the negative of humanity. The negative of Gashmus. There's two ways of sticking away from evil. Either by accentuating the greatness of God, or by telling the weakness of man. So Musar went to tell the weakness of man, which is true. Nobody's saying Musar is not true. It is true. The man is weak. Shalom Aleichem. Man is weak. The Torah says it. The Torah itself says it. The weakness, the evil of man is within when he's a child. He's strong. Man, that's it. Man is weak to his Ra. We all know that. But Chassidus says if we accentuate the good, accentuate the greatness of God, the potential, the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then ma'at ur, a little light, chases away a lot of darkness.
What's the definition of Musa?
Rebuke. Rebuke. Again, to accentuate. So Musa accentuates the power of evil and the weakness of humanity. The evil is strong out there, and humans are weak, and therefore they're going to go to Gehenna, and they're going to fall, and blah 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 blah. And it's true. It is true. Nothing is false. Musa is not false. It is. We know the weakness of man, but you know what Chassidus says? Let us accentuate the greatness of God, the greatness of your godly soul. That even though you have these four attributes of negativity, they themselves have in it a spark of good. Let us accentuate the good, and the bad will dissipate. And that's what we learn. That's what we learn, Tanya. That's why we love Chassidus. We're holding on the second page again, but it's like the first page in this thing. That's where we ended. So we ended off the sloth and the kali of the elements of earth. From this soul stems the good character. Down to that, it says from this soul stems the good characteristics which are to be found in innate nature of the. That's it. Even because even our good has a taint of selfishness. All our good, right? We're not tzaddikim. So all our good has a little bit of strings attached. There's always something.
Proud you do a mitzvah?
Yeah, you're a tzaddik, you do it l'shem shamayim, you do it. No. And that's why it's a little bit, there's a little bit of schmutz there. There's a little bit of negativity. There's a little bit of selfishness.
And a perfect.
The tzaddik says, I don't need anything. I do, down to that would say, I don't need your Gan Eden, I don't need your Elam Haba, I want you. And that's the tzaddik. And then, well, we're not that, so it's fine. Yeah.
All these mitzvahs.
Don't get personal, no, do for God, no personal, no personal gain. Again, it's hard to understand a tzaddik, so we're not a tzaddikim, and we're not supposed to be that. That's the point. We're not tzaddikim. Well, why do we need to be that for? It's a fact. So we are people, human beings that are connected to the world, and we're striving to connect to something spiritual. It's very hard for us to be disconnected from the world. It's extremely hard for us, and therefore don't be something you cannot be. Be something that you could be. And what is that? To be able to have both worlds. That's what we strive for, to have both worlds, to live in the physical world, to have all the goods of this world, and to also have a spiritual world. I mentioned Shimon Bar was someone who stood. The Jew that said Torah is the most important thing, right? That was his Torasum Naseh. And his students, the Gemara says that his students, Gemara tells an interesting story of Shimon Bar Yochai. His students were extremely poor. He's not one of the ones who had millions of his students were extremely poor. And one time, Erev was there before Pesach, tells the students, okay, go home. He said, to go home, but we have no money. What are we going home for? We're going to get home and our wives are going to beat us up, right? Where's the money? With no money. So he said, you want money? So he said, yeah. Gemara says, took him to a valley. He said, valley, fill up with gold. The whole valley filled up with gold. He said, okay, take the money. Take the money. Here's the money. Realize by taking the money, you're going to give up part of your. Said keep the money. These are great people to be able to do that. I don't know if that is the. That is take a little bit.
Just to make sure your family eats.
The family, Baruch Hashem, survived. So it's a very high tiger. It's a very high tiger. It's a very high level of I don't know if it's for everybody. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody because you have to really reach that level of being separated from the world. The world is irrelevant to you.
You still have to take care of your wife.
Okay. I was afraid to say this, Gemara. I apologize. Don't kill the messenger. Don't kill the messenger. No. The Gemara says it was a machlekes in Rabbi Kiva and Mishma. Rabbi Kiva held the Torah says you should learn day and night, and the Eibishter will take care of you. Rabbi Shmuel said no. The verse said 6 days a week you got to go to work. So you got to go to work. Nobody's going to take care of you. So a group of Jews got together and we said, we're going to do like Rabbi Akiva. We're going to learn day and night, and then the Abish is going to take care of us. And guess what? It didn't work. There was no money in the bank at the end of the week. There was no money. There was no money. Did that make Rabbi Akiva wrong? That means maybe they didn't learn like Rabbi Akiva, you know? Rabbi Akiva gave up his life for Torah. He had nobody. If you go, what? No, Rabbi Akiva gave up all his money.
Yeah.
They lived like a very poor,
Yeah.
right? They were extremely poor. They were extremely poor.
Okay.
Okay, so Rabbi Akiva walked the walk and did the walk the talk. He was not a Jew that said he gave up. Him and his was actually the greatness of his wife.
Yes.
That gave up everything,
Everything to get married.
everything to marry him, and everything to send him off to learn. Famous story. Rabbi Akiva, 12 years. Right. So he came
So
back.
that means he only had one child.
I don't know. He had children before he went, but he came home. He came home, and the Gemara says a story. He came home, and he heard a conversation his wife's having with another woman, and the woman is saying to him, "What kind of husband you have who left you here, and you're living in such poor. You're living like a very poor. There's no food. There's nothing in this house. How kind of husband do you have?" So she said, if he's learning Torah, he should stay there another 12 years. So he turned around without knocking on the door,
He did.
and he went back for another 12 years. He follows the wife's direction. He went back for another 12 years. And the Gemara says when he came back with 24,000 students, and he came into the city, and the whole city came out to greet her, right? The whole city came out to greet Rabbi Akiva, the famous sage. And as he's walking down the street, this woman came running after him. This woman came out and she grabbed him. She fell by his feet and she grabbed him. And the student said, wanted to grab her, you know, a chutzpah, this woman, touching him and grabbing him. And he said a famous statement, Shali v'shalach, shalach. Whatever I have, whatever all you have, is all because of me. V'shalach, shalach. Whatever I have, all the knowledge I have, all the greatness I have, and all the greatness that you have, all belong to this woman. This all belongs to her. And that was because it was her self-sacrifice. It was her self-sacrifice. It was her sacrifice. His wife. Yeah, famous wife. Well, his wife, yeah, it was his wife. Correct. It was his wife. So ultimately, he became very wealthy at the end of his life, Rabbi Akiva, because his father-in-law, famous story. So his father-in-law came to greet him. He didn't know that this was his son-in-law even. His father-in-law came to the rabbi of the whole Israel, right? Came to the rabbi. He said, I have a dilemma. He said, what's the dilemma? He said, I for the last 24 years, I've excommunicated my son-in-law, my daughter. I feel terrible, even though he's a simple farmer and he's a nobody, but it's my flesh and blood. And how do I overcome this shvuah, this vow that I made? So Rabbi Akiva said to him, if your son-in-law would have come like a rabbi like me, would you ever make such a vow? Would you ever make such a vow if your son-in-law would become a rabbi like me? He said, sure, I would never make some vows. He says, okay, I'm your son-in-law. I am your son-in-law. And he gave himself understood. He changed his whole life. His father-in-law changed his whole life. Which someone understood, but Rabbi Akiva didn't do that. Rabbi Akiva gave his life up for, Gemara says Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was the wealthiest Jew in the world of his time. He was more wealthier than kings. He was more wealthy than the king of Persia, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, the one who wrote the Mishnah. And before he died, also you should know Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was the wealthiest Jew, but he suffered the last 13 years of his life. He had great suffering and pain in his life. And before he died, he said, picked up his finger to heaven, he said, God can be my witness that I had no joy, personal joy in this world. What did he mean? He lived a wealthy, but he said, it was not my, I didn't have, it was all the Shem Shamayim. I've used all my wealth for the Shem Shamayim. I had no personal honor, and that's crazy.
Was he in physical pain?
Yeah, he was in physical pain. The last 13 years of
But
his
he
life.
must not have been married then.
He had a lot of kids.
So then he had to have.
You see, that's understand. There was not a personal joy. Everything he did was for a spiritual reason. We don't understand what that means. It's hard to us understand what that means.
Yeah, but when you
That's
have a
a-
child, that's personal joy.
No, he had a child. Like Chana said, I give this child, I had this child for God. It's hard to understand. It's hard for us to understand that concept. Because with us, we do have personal joy. It's hard for us to comprehend it. It is very hard for us as normal human beings to comprehend that you don't have, that your personal joy is God's joy. It's hard to comprehend it. What does that mean? I don't understand. I have personal joy. I know what personal joy is.
Yeah.
And what does that mean that my personal joy is God's joy? It's hard for us. The Gemara says you can have that feeling on Shabbos, maybe. That on Shabbos, that when you have joy on Shabbos, it's for a mitzvah. That it is for the mitzvah. It's not for your personal joy. Even the joy on Shabbos is because you're having it Hashem, you're having it for the mitzvah, because it's Shabbos. So that's why Shabbos, me'ein olam haba. The Shabbos is a taste of the world to come.
Right.
Because you're having personal joy, but it's for the mitzvah. You realize on Shabbos that's not only for your person, because you could have on Sunday. Why are you not making this whole Suda on Sunday? Why are you not making it on a Monday and Tuesday? But on Shabbos, the food tastes different on Shabbos. The actual food tastes different. The scenery feels different. It's not a Sunday evening dinner. It's not a Thursday. The Shabbos feels different. Because it's Shabbos, you have a taste of the world to come. You have actually a taste of what it means to enjoy for the sake of a mitzvah.
Well, you also have a second neshama.
Which you don't have that feeling, and it's because of the second neshama, whatever. But you don't have. It's a revelation of the second neshama. So you have to be able to have the feeling that you're doing joy, but not for yourself, but for the sake of mitzvah. You all have that feeling on Shabbos, which you don't have. Even though you should have it. You should have that feeling on Sunday. You should have a feeling on Monday. You should have it, but it's harder. It's much harder to create that feeling on Sunday, on Monday, and Tuesday. On Shabbos, it's like inbuilt situation. It's an inbuilt concept. So even Shina b'Shabbos Tanya, even the delight of sleeping is much more better. It's the nap on Shabbos is different than the nap on Sunday, and the food on Shabbos, and the walk on Shabbos, and the clothes on Shabbos. It's like a higher dimension. It's a high dimension, and that's the beauty of Shabbos. So we have to try to do that a whole week, but it's harder for us, and that's why there's a song we sing on Motzei Shabbos. Al Tira Avdi Yaakov. There's a song that we sing. We say, "Don't be afraid. I know you're going out of Shabbos, and you're going into the week. It's going to be a whole different world. Even though what's the difference? Same. It's going to be a different world. You're going to the level of Jacob, which is the level of the struggle with the world. You're not going to be able to find the godliness. It's going to be difficult to find the spirituality in this world. But don't worry, work on it. Work on it and bring Sunday to be like Shabbos, Monday to be like Shabbos, Tuesday to be like, if we can reach up to that level. That's when Mashiach comes. It says, the verse says, Yom Shekula Shabbos. When Mashiach comes, the whole week will be like Shabbos. Like Shabbos, because you'll see the spiritual, you'll feel the Tanya. You'll be able to say, everything I do is for God. It's for a spiritual thing. It's not for my own. It's not for my own physical delight. Truth is, you have to take the beauty of Shabbos and the wording of Shabbos throughout the week. You have to talk to your Nefesh HaBahamis. What does your Nefesh HaBahamis want? Delight. Negative delight. He wants delight. Enjoyment. How do you explain to your animalistic soul, you can have, I'm going to give you your enjoyment? That's why the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, Rebbe said, which is the normal path of who should go on? It's beauty. Something that has beauty. Your Nefesh HaLekis is not looking for beauty. Your Nefesh HaLekis is looking for godliness. Nefesh HaBahamis is looking for beauty. We struggle with that. Zek Kalim Van Veu, verse says, this is my God, I'll make him beautiful. What does that mean? God doesn't need to have a beautiful building. It's a beautiful building. God is God. Simplicity. God is simple. But your nefesh habahamis says, I need beauty. Right? So therefore, the Eibush says, make it beautiful. Why? Because God wants you to serve Him with both of with your godly soul and your animalistic soul. And my animalistic soul knows beauty. When you make something beautiful and you do it also for the sake of God, now you have your animalistic soul and your godly soul working together because it understands beauty. When your godly soul, when you talk to your animalistic soul and say, oh, when it comes to God, everything is just godly, simple. The animalistic soul says, I'm not involved in this. What am I involved in? I don't know things godly. I understand beauty. When you're going to bring the godliness and beauty together, your animalistic soul says, I'm here. Let's make it beautiful. I'll do the beautiful. You do the godly. We'll come together and we'll make God beautiful.
There you go.
And here we go. And why not? And let's do it together. So we want to talk about beautiful. You want to make a beautiful show? I can talk to you. That's talking to me. When you're going to make a beautiful tefillah, you're going to make a beautiful mezuzah, you're going to make a beautiful meal, and we're going to do it. I'm here. I'm at the party. Chavetz Chaim gives the analogy of the blind and the blind man and the lame man, right? The blind man, what do you do with a blind man and a lame man that come together? They're living in the city. The blind man can't get around. The lame man can't get around. So what do? We make a shidduch, right? We put the blind man on the lame man. We put the lame man on the blind man, right? The blind man becomes the vehicle for the lame guy, right? They come to a party. They come to outside fear, right? The lame man sees the beauty. Wow, they're dancing. Everybody said, the blind man, he doesn't know what's going on. He says, let's get out of here. Let's go home. I don't see anything. I can listen to a tape recorder. Listen to tape. I can see. So what do? So you give the lame man gives the blind man food. He gives him something to drink. He says, come, let's have a party. Right? That you understand, right? We'll have a party. So we'll stay here. You'll eat and drink and enjoy. Well, I'll see the beauty. That's what happens. He doesn't understand the Shabbos. He doesn't see the beauty per se.
Oh.
The Guf doesn't see it. So therefore you make a Suda. Make a party. Make a party. So now we can both be at the party. The lame guy that sees can see it. Your neshama sees the beauty and sees the godliness, the beauty of the godliness, and the body sees the Suda. Physical beauty.
That's right.
And we come together. We need to learn language of the animalistic soul. We know the language of the godly soul. It's Torah, mitzvahs. But to do the mitzvah in a beautiful way. Tferes said, that's why the Rebbe says, which is the normal way to go for a human being that has beauty to the doer. If you're going to do every mitzvah without any beauty, you're going to have a big struggle. Not here. You're faking it. It's not real. Not real. MS. It is real. What do you mean? It's godliness. It is real. But it's not real to you, my animalistic soul. And I need to talk to my animalistic soul. I need to talk to my nefesh habahamis, to my little ego that's in it, that wants beauty, that wants to have excitement, that wants to have enjoyment. Not your animalistic soul is not only looking. We always think our animalistic soul is always looking for destruction. No, it just wants self. It wants to have beauty. It wants to have enjoyment. If you're not going to give him good enjoyment, then he's going to go to bad enjoyment because he's looking for enjoyment wherever he can receive it. And if you're not going to give him positive enjoyment, he'll go for negative enjoyment because he's just looking for enjoyment. Therefore, give him positive enjoyment. Make it exciting. Make the mitzvah exciting. Make the shul exciting. Make the suda exciting. Make it good. So he's not going to want to say, I got to get out of here. There's too much. There's too much dust. There's dust too much. Dust. Dust godliness here. I need the packaging. Everything is in the packaging.
Right.
That's what we're not tzaddikim. We're not into the packaging. We're into the packaging. We're into the packaging. That's the way it goes. There's nothing negative about that. Right? There's nothing negative in packaging. And nobody's not doing negative. There's nothing negative. Who looks at the ingredients? Packaging. The ingredients are very small letters. We look at the packaging. Then you have the intellectual consumer who looks at the ingredients. The intellectual consumer is looking at the packaging and looking at the way, and that's why billions of dollars giving away to the packaging more than to the food that's in it.
Yeah.
Look at the packaging, and that's not a negative thing. It's a way to make business, and it's the way people are going to buy something. Your nefesh Bahamas is looking at the packaging. You should never forget zekel. It's a very important zekel. Don't buy. Make it beautiful. Rebbe was into that. Make it beautiful. Make it beautiful. Make your Chabad house beautiful.
Yeah.
Make your mikveh beautiful. Because more women go to the mikveh. Oh, so all this gone is that. Make the packaging. Make it beautiful. And because that talks to the nefesh of Bahamas, and it's not a negative thing. Why shouldn't it be beautiful? Shouldn't it be beautiful? It should be beautiful. Everything should be beautiful. Because that beauty will get them in that beauty, that nefesh Abamas talks to, and it's not negative, not doing a sin, and that beauty will bring him in to do the mitzvah, to do the positive. So you might say, oh, isn't that ulterior motive? Isn't that kashmir? Isn't that too no. It is, because we're doing it for a godly purpose, even though it is in a very nice thing. But what's so terrible about that? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a positive thing.
Except when your packaging is too expensive and then
Okay.
you suffer because the packaging
Okay.
is expensive.
Everything has to be done in the right way. Nobody should go and buy the packaging that he can't afford. Right? Even the Gemara says, I say Shabbat chachol, make your Shabbos a little bit less packaging, and so you don't have to come on to others. So you say, oh, I'm gonna make a big suda Shabbos where you can't afford it. No, then maybe you should diminish. Everything. You're right. So when you have to steal, or a person says, I'm going to do a mitzvah b'aveda, I'll steal to do a mitzvah. No, it doesn't work that way. You can't do that. Everything has to be done correctly. But to say, oh, God doesn't want packaging, that is not correct. That is incorrect. My grandfather's tefillin while I'm driving a BMW doesn't work that way. You're not driving your grandfather's Ford Alta Tranta. You don't wear your grandfather's, suddenly you become sentimental when it comes to a mitzvah. I'm going to wear an old tefillin that should be buried years ago. We go, I become sentimentally valued. Oh, godliness, it doesn't, God doesn't care that you, no, most of them are not kosher. You can't survive so many years. 99% are not kosher.
Can't you change the paper?
Okay, let's learn. So that's the point. Make it beautiful. Buy a beautiful new pair of tefillin. Buy a beautiful pair of tefillin. It's going to cost more money, yeah?
How often do you have to check it?
7 years. Every 7 years, up your halacha. But in this Florida, you need to check it every year. Trust me, the humidity is going to kill the tefillin. But right, so buy a beautiful pair of tefillin. Why not? Why not? If you can afford it, buy it. Let's continue. Let's end off this verse. But the soul sends a good character. So therefore, as such as mercy and benevolence, we should realize all this good, benevolence, mercy. That's why you do a mitzvah, even though it's not totally. Be benevolent, be merciful, even though it's not totally kosher.
What?
You know, it's not totally without strings attached. Right? That's the way the world runs, and it's good as long as it's good.
It's good.
As long as it's good, right? Don't try to be the perfect person. I'm not going to do good until I'm holy. You're never going to do anything good. Never do anything good, right? I'm not going to do Torah mitzvahs until I'm totally ready to do 630 commandments. You're not going to do anything. You cannot live that kind of way of life. The case of Israel, this soul of Klippa is derived from Klippas Nega. That's a good realize. That we are a Klippa that shines. So even though we're not perfect, we have the potential to be perfect. Maybe we'll never reach that potential. But we do have the potential. We are covering that shines, which is also taken good as it originates in the esoteric tree of good and evil. That's it. Once that's the esoteric concept of good and evil. Now you understand that the world always has good and evil. Even good has within it evil. There's no perfection in this world, only a tzaddik gomer. Every person comes from the tree of good and evil, and there's always a little evil in it. That's why we need to work on that, because there's always a little of evil in it. Right? So even that's why you see people that do good, and the second you do something bad to them, they're out. What happened to their good? Did they good? Why do people have relationships for 50 years and then they hate each other for some stupid statement? So I'll tell people, do you ever found a man that said something good? Ever find a man that says it's always good? Either he said it, either there's no, it doesn't exist, right? Either he doesn't say it right, he said it at the wrong time, he said it to the wrong person, he said it in the wrong way, he said, right? No man has ever said something totally good.
What about women?
No, women are perfect, but no man has ever said something good. There's no found such a person. There's no such a human being. There's no such a human being that ever said, even the Moshe Rabbeinu, that says they didn't say this right, he was hanging around right, did what? No man, right? Always, every woman is looking for the perfect man. It's not found. There's no such thing.
Not unless we're programmed.
And it's no such thing. There's no such thing. There's no man that ever said everything perfectly. Right? And even if he said perfectly, it was not perfect to me. So finish. Not found such a thing. Fine, you're looking for perfection. I'm looking for the man that, goes sleep on time, eats on time, always there on time. And that's the only man that's found like that is in jail. Jail. He eats on time, sleeps on time, gets up on time, and is always there. He's never gone. He's in jail. That's lacharaba. Go marry. And that's why some women marry men that are in jail. They know where they are. They know where they're going to be. They know what their schedule. They're in jail. Finished. That's, you're going to find such a situation. That's it, right? But from good and evil, from the story of Adam and Chava, now you have imperfection. And the question is, how much can you live with that imperfection? That's the guy you're looking for. That, that he's imperfect, but he's perfect for me. That's it. He's perfect for me. Every Jew is perfect, needs to be perfect for you. That's Avos Yisrael. That's Avos Yisrael. You're looking for the perfect Jew, you're never going to have Avos Yisrael. if you're going to looking for the Jew that you can handle with their imperfection, then you have Avos Yisrael. Because I'm also imperfect, so I love myself, I can love everybody else. After I love myself in my imperfections, I can love somebody else with their imperfections. Nobody has to be perfect to be loved.
Personally can be.
Right. Okay, but then after that, ends the souls of the nations of the world emanate from the other unclean clippers, which contain no good whatsoever. As written in Chaim, Portal 49, chapter 3, that all good the nations do is done for selfish motives, and that's it. So you have something, you're not talking about selfish. It's done for total selfish motives, it has no good. So the Gemara can comment to the verse, the kindness of the nations is sin. Alter Rebbe got in trouble for this statement. And you know, actually, when they challenged Alter Rebbe, they asked him 22 in front of a court. They asked him 22 questions. The last question was this question.
What did he say?
And he didn't answer it. He just smiled. He smiled. Right? He answered every other question perfectly. And it came to this, he didn't answer.
He didn't write this.
He didn't answer. He didn't answer.
So he didn't write?
How you say that about non-Jews? How do you say that about non-Jews? You're talking about the king. The king is a non-Jew either. So how do you write that at himself? So he didn't. He just smiled. And later they asked him, and they accepted it. So later they asked him. So he said, "Listen, these are smart people. They knew that I can answer every question. Some questions need to be stayed as a question. If I were to answer them, they would say, we want to be Jews. We want to be Jews. We want to be Jews." This famous story with the Ramban. The Rambam, the king of Aragon, brought him to the last debate between him and the nations of the world. The Ramban, his whole story, he said he would only do it if it would be written down, because he knew that every debate, he didn't win, but they never, it's not written down. So he agreed. So the king of Aragon agreed that it should be written down. So they came at the end of the debate. The king of Aragon said that he won, but he lost anyway. He told me I have to get out of here because we can't lose against the church, so forget it. So you lost anyway. But the king of Aragon said, you know what? This is a famous thing, because he was a smart man. He said, listen, what should I do? So he said, the Ramban said to him, no, the Ramban said, what you should do from this debate, not that you should become Jewish, don't be a pagan, be a believer. Even though you're not believing in something that's true, but you have belief. So don't be a person that becomes an atheist, because he said, I'm not going to become Jewish, maybe I should become an atheist. So the Ramban told him, the king, they said, no, you stay a believer. Even if you're not, even though you're not believing in Yiddish, in Torah, but you have belief, and therefore you should stay a believer. Don't become a pagan. Don't become an atheist. And that's the Rambam also writes that. The Rambam says, the nations of the world, thank God they have a belief. Have a belief. To take away their belief, Yiddish guy was not there to take away their belief, and that's why Torah also says that a belief of a non-Jew is not not always idol worship. So they should have a belief, and their beliefs are a little bit they need to be tuned in right. And Mashiach is going to tune in everybody right. That's what Mashiach is going to do. He's going to tune in their belief. So the Baruch Hashem, they have a belief, but it's not the way it should be, and ultimately it will be turned into it's a bigger struggle. Mashiach comes, that's a Safa Achad. The Mashiach comes, the world will have one belief ultimately. But they have a belief. Take the world that has no belief and turn them into believers will be a very difficult thing to do. But Baruch Hashem, majority of the world is believers, are believers. And they have a belief system, and we have to ultimately transform the belief system. So the kindness of the world is nations of sin, and all the charity and the kindness done by the nations of the world is only for the self-gratification. We should know that this is what I've got Rabbi Shimon Yochai in trouble, was this concept, right? The famous story of Rabbi Shimon Yochai, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon Yochai were sitting and talking. Rabbi Yehuda said, look at Rome, how they made the beautiful world. They made this beautiful world, and they gave this world, gave Israel a beautiful place. And Rabbi Shimon Yochai said, whatever they do is for the self-gratification. And therefore, don't praise them at all. All they do is for self-gratitude. When Rome heard that, they said Rabbi Yehuda is going to become a greater person, and Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai has to be put to death because he spoke against Rome. He has to put to death. To trace him, he had to go into a cave for 13 years, and for 12 years he had to run away. But this is a famous story. That statement that Alter Rebbe said over here is the exact same statement that Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai said. Everything that the nations of the world is for self-gratification. It has no godliness involved in it. It's the greatness of the nation. A Jew does good for the sake of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not for his own gratification, not for his own sake, but because it's a mitzvah to do good. That's why the Rebbe says that we call the difference between chesed and tzedakah. Yidden call charity tzedakah. Why? Because tzedakah means tzedek. It means righteousness. It means what you need to do. Chesed is a kindness. You don't have to do kindness. Tzedakah is an obligation. It's called tzedek. It's called righteousness. A Jew gives tzedakah because that's what he's supposed to do. Not because he's good, he's a great guy, because that's what you're supposed to do. It's righteousness. It's what you're supposed to do. Not that you deserve a thank you, not that you deserve any kind of recognition. This is what you're supposed to do. Okay, because that's the way, because they're giving chesed, because they're doing kindness and not giving tzedakah. They're doing kindness. And okay, because that's ultimately your nefesh, that's why we have to play the game. Every organization needs to give the recognition. And the Gemara says that also is not bad. To recognize somebody that does good is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And maybe you should do that. Why? Because that will get other people to good, the Gemara says. Because why? Because that's what your nefesh of Bahamas needs. And we need to use that out. We cannot say we're only going to give tzedakah if we're going to be totally l'shem shemaim. Nobody's going to do that because your nefesh Bahamas is going to say, wait a second, what is wrong to have recognition? And what's wrong to have recognition? Nobody's doing a Veda having recognition. He did anything wrong, having some recognition. That should be the worst thing that we do, is have recognition. That's a good thing. But ultimately, if you want to go to the essence of things, it's tzedakah. You should do it because it is righteous. It's the right thing to do. Not because you're going to get a recognition or you're going to get, truthfully, honestly, if it wasn't, I don't want to say this, but if it wasn't for a concept of the government giving you a tax break on your tzedakah, how many people would do tzedakah? That's the reality. That's the reality. So really, in a way, a percentage is because the United States government is giving you a tax break, which is, again, I'm not taking, I'm chas v'shalom. The United States government should not take that away, because if they did that, we would, many organizations would have a trouble getting tzedakah. But so everything, so it's not a negative thing. Baruch Hashem, it's a malchus chesed. They're giving people a tax break by giving tzedakah. They mean, in essence, they're helping people get tzedakah, which is a beautiful thing. But ultimately, to the essence of things, if you want to go to the essence of things, people should give tzedakah because that's what is an obligation. It's a righteous thing to do. But Bahamas, we all have an amistic soul, and therefore the Abish to put in the system. There should be recognition, and it should be a good thing. It's a good thing to be recognized, and it's a mitzvah to have your name on a building and a name in a book, and a mitzvah to get and the government also helps you out by getting a receipt, and everybody's happy. And it's not a negative thing, all these things. It's also good because ultimately we're giving stuff. I wish you all a wonderful, beautiful day. Have a beautiful day. Well, next week we're starting chapter 2. Tanya, have a great day.